Hi guys, I'm Caitlin and this is Book Chats, and today I'm going to talk about why I never finished the Harry Potter series. This is going to be tough. So I just want to say at the top of this video that I'm making this kind of in celebration of the fact that I have hit my 500 subscriber and I'm actually really close to my 600 subscriber mark. By the time this is posted, I might have actually hit my 600 subscriber mark. And I want to say thank you so much to all of you who subscribe, who follow me, who watch my videos, who comment, some of you who don't comment, some of you who lurk and then comment in my other spaces. I appreciate every one of you. I'm so grateful to have you watching my videos. And I want to say right here that I'm so grateful that you have watched my videos to date. And if what I say in this video is something that changes the view you have of me in a way that makes it difficult for you to remain subscribed or to continue watching my videos, I understand if you don't watch my videos going forward, and it's okay. Having said that, you're probably like, this is real weird. What is she gonna say? So, some background. Firstly, why did I choose this to celebrate hitting the subscriber mark? About a year ago, I filmed a video that was the top 5 books I will never read ever. And it is one of the worst videos I've made. You can tell that I'm just panicking as I film a video, and it's an awful video and it's terrible, and it is my most viewed video ever, of all time. I still occasionally get comments on it. It's kind of a controversial topic, and it's particularly controversial that I say that I will never finish the Harry Potter series. I will never read books 5, 6, and 7, which are the 3 that I haven't read, and I do not tell people why. I start out that section by saying it's a very personal reason. It is not a reason that my mind will change on, and that if you meet me in person, you can ask me, but was not at the time willing to talk about it on my channel. So I thought almost immediately after posting that video that I should make a video talking about that, because it is something that I should be open about, I should talk about openly, and I also had an outpouring of support from people that I was afraid would be like, she didn't read Harry Potter, we can't be friends, but everyone was so wonderful and so welcoming and so kind to me, and so I thought I owe them the honesty of talking about why. But I just didn't make it, and I didn't make it, and I didn't make it, because it's really hard to talk about when I'm not talking to you one-on-one. This is something that is so difficult to talk about that at the time that I made the decision to stop reading Harry Potter, I did not tell people the real reason I stopped reading Harry Potter. I lied. Not only did I lie, but I have maintained that lie for more than 10 years. And so my own family does not know the real reason that I stopped reading Harry Potter, except they do now, because I'm going to send this video to them first so that they can hear it. It is not something that I still hide from people. I do talk about it openly with people that I've met and become friends with as an adult. It just is hard to renege on something that I lied about 10 years ago and maintained the lie for 10 years. I'm going to give you some background because I'm going to address some of the things that people have made in comments on that video as the reason they think that I don't read it, and then I'm going to talk about why I really won't read it. Some people comment in solidarity saying they haven't read Harry Potter either, or they started reading it and didn't think it was very good, and that's why they stopped. I really appreciate the solidarity. This is the lie that I told when I stopped reading them, so I want to address this first. I told my family that I stopped reading Harry Potter because the quality was not that great, and I was obsessed with books like Lord of the Rings, which is of much better quality, which I do actually think that the Lord of the Rings is a better quality writing than the first 4 books of Harry Potter. But I was also reading fan fiction at the time, and fan fiction is not that great of quality in general, not in specifics, and therefore, rightly so, my siblings always thought it was stupid and crap that I said that. Now, I was a total snob about books in high school, and I was a total snob about what I read. There are many great YA books that I did not read in high school because I didn't read YA in high school because I was a snob about what I read. And so it wasn't completely unfathomable for my family to buy this lie that I told them. But it is actually not the reason that I stopped reading Harry Potter. So those of you who say, I started reading Harry Potter too and I didn't like it, or it wasn't very good quality, or I stopped reading it, that is a super valid opinion. I super understand where you're coming from. It is not actually why I stopped reading it. I was super obsessed with Harry Potter. I read all of the first 4 books multiple times. I saw the first 2 movies. I read a ton of Harry Potter fan fiction. I read Harry Potter fan fiction longer than I read Harry Potter. It took me 2 years to quit Harry Potter fan fiction. I did become obsessed with Lord of the Rings after reading Harry Potter. Lord of the Rings is part of my Harry Potter story, and I'm really appreciative to it. And I do believe that it helped refine my palette and helped me read more challenging and interesting things. Second reason that I hear come up that is not quite right, occasionally people will be like, you have mentioned on your channel, or like they just make this assumption because other people don't read Harry Potter because of this, that you are a religious person. I'm a Christian person. My religion is very important to me, and that is why you don't read Harry Potter, because you think that it is full of witchcraft and bad things, and that's why you don't read it. So I want to just address the second half of that. I know that Harry Potter was super controversial, particularly among Christians when it came out. I can super see why people might make that assumption. The reason that I don't read Harry Potter is not because I believe that the content is evil or demonic or something that a Christian would not read. I do not believe that these books are anti-Christian. All of my siblings have read these books and enjoyed them. And specifically, I was afraid when I stopped reading these books that is what people would think, that they would think that I was not reading them because of a content issue, and that I was judging them for continuing to read them with this perceived content issue. And I was kind of a judgy McJudgerpants in the middle and high school, so I can see why they might think that, and I was afraid that they would think that, and that is actually why I lied to my family, because I didn't want my siblings to feel like I was judging them for reading these books and I was not reading them. But I do want to make it clear that I don't have an issue with the content of the first 4 books of the Harry Potter series. I don't think the content is generally evil or that it's generally anti-Christian. Harry Potter is very clearly fantasy, and I think that some of the objections people had to it, and it being like witchcraft, were kind of silly, because nobody, to my knowledge, practices witchcraft in the way that Harry Potter does in our world today. So it's not a general content issue, but that comment does get a little bit at the reason. And the reason is something that's kind of weird. And I want to be really, really, really clear that this is personal to me, and this is a reason that I personally don't read Harry Potter, and I do not believe that this reason applies to anyone else unless you had the exact same thing happen to you. I'm not saying because I haven't read Harry Potter, because of this reason, you should not read it either, because I think that's weird based on what I'm about to tell you. But if you are like, I had that same thing happen to me, and I chose not to read X book or watch X television show or do X activity because of it, that I would understand. I'm talking around it because as soon as I say this, I'm afraid that some of you will be like, completely dismiss everything I say because it will make me sound very odd. So, here we go. I stopped reading Harry Potter because I felt God was asking me to stop reading Harry Potter. Why would God ask you to stop reading Harry Potter? This is my guess and my theory, not my knowledge. I think I was too obsessed with it, and that I was getting to a point where I was putting it in a place in my life that like it had too much influence and value and too high of a place in my life, and that God was asking me to let it go because it was something that was very high value to me, and if I could not let it go, then that would be a problem. There are so many things to unpack here. So I want to be really clear, it is very unusual and weird and abnormal for a person to say, I felt like God told me this thing very specifically. That is not something that all Christians think. It is not a super normal thing among Christianity. It is something that I specifically have, and I don't think that I'm the only singular person who has this, that I'm super special and that nobody else has this. I have occasionally met a couple other people who feel God in a very tangible way like I do, and feel sometimes God asking them to do things in a very tangible way like I do, is something that I believe is very real from my own experience and from others, but also I don't think it's a mark of how good of a Christian you are. I don't think it is a necessity to be a Christian. I don't think it's very normal amongst Christians. This is not like a voice from heaven talking to me, but it is different from just me feeling something. So sometimes I feel like God is asking me to not do something, or kind of rebuking me for something, or like stop something. And that is what this was. So what happened is I felt kind of like I was being led to stop reading Harry Potter. And so I considered, am I being led to stop reading Harry Potter? Is this something that God is leading me to do? That's when I started thinking, what would it take to give this up? And because when I felt like I was being led to stop reading it, I was like, this is really hard. Like, this is going to be very hard. Like, I don't actually know if I can do this. If there's something in your life that you're not sure you can give up, and especially if it's something like reading a book or a series of books, like that means that that thing might have an outsized influence on your life. I prayed about it and I said, God, if this is really something that you want me to do, I need help. And right about that time, the first Lord of the Rings movie was coming out, The Fellowship of the Ring, and I got the bookmark and I was like, I'm going to read this book, and I started reading it, and I became like super interested in it. I was very engaged in it, and it was clear to me that Lord of the Rings was going to be my out. It was going to be the way that I gave up my obsession with Harry Potter. It was going to help me to get away from Harry Potter, and that is why I hold this weird special place in my life for the Lord of the Rings, because I became kind of obsessed with Lord of the Rings, but not on the same level that I was with Harry Potter, and in a way that maybe it was just because it was a different point in my life, because at different points in your life you are more or less likely to be obsessed with things, or maybe it was just because I was able to like grow alongside it, and then I was able to let it go, and I still love the Lord of the Rings, but I don't have that obsession anymore, and I feel like a very healthy relationship with it. But that was my out, and I stopped reading Harry Potter more or less cold turkey. I actually snuck the first chapter of the 5th book, like, because my siblings were reading it, and it was all over the house, and it was like in the bathroom, and then I was like, no, you're not reading this, and that was really hard. It was really, really hard to go cold turkey, and part of my not totally going cold turkey is that I did continue to read fan fiction for 2 years, and I sort of slowly weaned myself off of it. I watched the first 2 movies, which were released after I stopped reading the books. I have actually since then watched one more film. I watched Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, but I watched it in German, which was a really interesting experience, and I didn't actually know what was going on, but I sort of knew what was going on, and it was a really interesting exercise in like trying to figure out what was going on. But it also was really like affirming to me, because at the point that I watched it, I was in college, and it had been years since I read Harry Potter, and I kind of was wondering, like, does Harry Potter still have a hold over me? And I was afraid to kind of pick something up and see, because I didn't want to like get sucked back in, and it was a really good way to see, like, does Harry Potter still have a hold on me? And the answer was no. I think if I really wanted to, I could probably go back and read Harry Potter these days. But honestly, I don't care. I genuinely don't care about how Harry Potter ends. And I don't want to say that as like you shouldn't care. And I don't want to say that in a way that's offensive to you. Like, to me, it is a mark of success that I was able to let this thing go. Why would I spend time on something that I no longer care about? But if you still care about Harry Potter and you reread it all the time and you care deeply about it, like, that is totally fine. And I've already talked way too long about it, but now that I have just poured my life out for you guys, feel free to contact me about this if you have questions, or if I didn't explain it well enough, or if in the editing process I cut out the essential part of this that made it all make sense. Thank you so much for watching my very long confessional video. I hope this makes sense. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. Bye.